That's this. There we go.
Okay, and I'm going to get this out.
I'm going to post this on LinkedIn real quick. I got caption ready. I'm also I got your podcast and also your name tagged on the post. So hopefully you get some more followers there.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Ready when you are.
Yeah, and 10 seconds, Chris. But I'm actually good. Yeah, let's do this. So what did you pull this? Like, did you go on your YouTube and then take the stream and post it on your LinkedIn now? Is that what, like, kind of how you shared it?
I did. Yep.
Cool. I guess that's I guess useful for people watching too, that might want to set up their own live stream.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know that there's a lot more people applying for the LinkedIn Live, and it's not an easy process like it is with YouTube. It takes 24 hours to get approved for a live streaming account, and I think LinkedIn is telling us it's going to take a few weeks.
Yep.
So I think, yeah, this is a nice little workaround for anyone out there listening to this live or the recording, that if you wanted to go live on LinkedIn while you're waiting for the approval to come through, you can always just use a YouTube live stream, and we're using StreamYard.com to stream this right now.
Shout outs to StreamYard.
That's right.
There's a lot of providers in the space. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will introduce you now, Armin. So, as most people know from my follower base and my connections, I'm Chris Hadges. I am the host of the Champions of Marketing podcast, and today it is my pleasure to have Armin Faraji. He is a Canadian-based co-founder of Node, which is a influencer marketing app, essentially a marketplace which helps connect brands with influencers. So, Armin, thanks for joining me today.
It's my pleasure, Chris. Thank you again for having me, and also for working through the troubleshooting of getting this live stream going with for both of our audiences.
It took us a minute, but we got there, and it's looking good from my end. So happy to see that.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, Armin, tell us about Node and the app and how it all works.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess to give folks sort of a background on myself and how it relates to what we're doing now at Node. I used to run a social media agency, which I started out of university. I graduated in 2015 from a local university here called Ryerson. And so basically, most of my work as a freelancer when I was just working in college and university was as basically with small businesses, and essentially like I kind of moved upscale, worked with larger brands, worked with more franchises, and I had a knack for basically creating social content and creating influencer marketing campaigns in the food and beverage space, mainly for restaurants. And essentially over about a 3-year span, my freelance business turned into an agency, and over that period, I think I worked with over 100 brands to just create influencer marketing campaigns, and also develop social media strategies, mostly focused around Instagram. And then about a year and a half ago, I kind of got tired of running an agency and like that sort of service-oriented business. not that I don't love offering customer service. I just the repetition of it was I just wanted to work on building something that's, I guess, more sustaining. And so I worked with a few. I teamed up with a few of my buddies who are also co-founders now, and we started working on a platform or a marketplace that connects brands with influencers and basically democratizes influencer marketing, so they don't. So brands and influencers don't need an agency or wouldn't need a designated marketing manager or agent to bring them together. And essentially, like our focus is to not necessarily do influencer marketing, but essentially help brands find brand ambassadors and convert influencers into brand ambassadors by helping them also identify really cool products and companies that they could work with.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a bit of a long explanation, but I was.
We got time, dude. We got time. But before we do get into a further discussion, I noticed on your LinkedIn post there's a little error in the podcast name. You've tagged Champions of Change, which looks like some little company out of Melbourne, so they might be a bit confused. So you might want to edit that one. It must have been like a little autocorrect situation there.
Totally. Yeah, that's why actually when I was speaking, I'm also posting it on my company page, and I'm so glad you brought that up because shit, I don't want to post the wrong page or podcast.
Yeah, I want all the traffic and attention coming to me.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, essentially, what we're doing now is creating a democratized model for brands to get their products featured. It basically, like for the past year and a half, we've been operating a mobile app that influencers can join to get verified and to access campaigns, which are simply products and services that various brands are offering. Most of our clients are in the food and beverage and CPG space, but lately we've been expanding to other consumer categories like cosmetics and consumer technology and things like that. So
yeah,
it's been exciting. Yeah.
What's it take for an influencer to get on your platform? Do you have certain prerequisites that you need to check off?
Yeah. So essentially, like, there's a follower requirement, but that's not really our emphasis. The main thing is engagement. So when the influencer signs up, they have to opt in with their Instagram account. We get access to their analytics. And essentially, we're able to actually verify them based on that data to say whether they're an influencer or not. And then we also have a member of our team that goes through every page that comes in, that signs up, to ensure that their content is of high quality. And essentially, like, that aspect of it as well can be automated, but we really like the idea of having a human eye on the content as well, rather than using like computer vision or machine learning algorithms to just analyze photos. Right.
And when it comes to the challenge of fake influencers that are buying comments, buying followers, do you feel like having an actual human looking at it, someone that can spot a fake influencer, is better than using AI or ML?
So there's two parts to it. Like, the most important thing is actually getting access to the influencer's analytics. Like, you could have as much AI as you want, but if the data you're not feeding your like machine learning algorithm or whatever you're using to verify influencers, if the data is not like clean or valid, it's like the whole thing is useless, right? So we don't really need to use AI to verify influencers, because influencers give us data that's validated through Instagram because it's from their analytics.
Yep.
So we know every influencer is essentially an influencer. And then like you'll see a lot of platforms or a lot of other influencer marketing apps, and so like discovery apps will boast the use of AI and machine learning, but like if you're pulling data from like vanity metrics like likes and comments, the end result is not going to be super accurate, even if you're using data like AI to manipulate or to, I guess, digest that data.
Mm-hmm. So engagement rate seems to be the key factor that you want to look at to determine how much influence someone has and if they're a good brand ambassador. And I think going through and looking at their profile and seeing previous brands that they've worked with, do you ever reach out to previous brands that a new influencer may have worked with to see how they performed on a previous campaign?
Sorry, do we reach out to like a kind of like a case study, you mean?
Yeah, so if let's say a new influencer is going to join your platform, is there ever a time where you might want to reach out to a previous brand that they've worked with to determine how well they performed before you bring them onto your marketplace? Or is that a little bit too strict? You know what I'm saying?
No, like we don't benchmark other brands or like their collaborations with other brands per se, because a lot of the influencers that use our app, it's their first time actually collaborating with brands. Like again, like we work with a lot of micro influencers that just have a really great engaged audience and take beautiful photos and videos. And that's the reason for using the app, is because they're able to at least now get rewarded and also build some really killer connections with brands through Node.
Yeah.
But we don't judge the influencer based on like their experience working with brands per se.
So how do you define, I know there's like a standard definition of micro and nano influencers. How are you defining a micro influencer? What are you looking for when someone's signing up to your platform?
To be honest, like, okay, it's an interesting question. Like, and I'll be totally honest with you. So internally, like between us as a team, we don't really use that terminology. We really see like everyone as a creator. And so like the micro nano stuff is like very arbitrary, and that's why we don't particularly use it ourselves. It's more so like a marketing word or a buzzword to get clients to kind of wrap their head around like what kind of influencers they can expect, and it's usually pertaining to like follower size. And so typically when we speak to a client about a micro influencer, their expectation is someone with 2 to, let's say, 50,000 followers. And then we don't even bring up the word nano influencer, because again, it's just so arbitrary and there's so much overlap. So to us, it's just like there's Instagram influencers and some of them are micro influencers. And the main thing is that which one of these are creators that will be your brand ambassador, based on not just based on their, like another point to our approach is that it's not really based like necessarily on the influencers content necessarily in terms of how we match them, also based on interest and their affinity towards what kind of things they like. Because at the end of the day, like we want influencers that are going to be brand ambassadors, that are going to actually love the products and brands that we connect them with.
Yeah. So product seeding, right? That was an article on your blog, on your website that I read a few weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about that and how that strategy helps to build a quality relationship between influencer and brand.
Right. Well, I think the issue with influencer marketing, and like even part of the reason we started Node is like the challenge that we had as an agency is negotiating with so many different influencers, having to discover influencers, and then later like track the content and create this like grand plan around how we're going to like really do all that in an efficient manner across a multiple person team. So we have all these project management tools, like whether it's Trello or Asana or Monday and so forth, that we use to plan this out. But all that takes so much time, and time is valuable. So the easiest way, like I realize, is literally don't overanalyze the influencers. Send your product out, and then based on the content and the feedback you receive, you'll find out which influencers are the ones that you should be working with. And you might be putting out more content, more product to reach more influencers, because you're going to be kind of taking a wide approach, like a shotgun approach kind of. But it's going to save you a lot of time that you'll be spending doing other things, such as marketing your business, managing your customers, and so forth, right? Because in the end of the day, influencer marketing is like a component of your overall marketing strategy, and it has to all really make sense in terms of how you're investing.
What's an example of a client, a brand you've worked with recently that has successfully rolled out a product seeding campaign?
Well, right now, what's really hot is like we're working with several breweries, and they have a lot of really cool summer products. Like with what we do at Node, it is essentially product seeding. We have a large pool of influencers, and we send them products with very little ask, other than to create content and provide some feedback. And essentially, influencers decide which products they want to receive. So what's really hot right now with our in general, our campaigns and the product seeding that's taking place is especially with beverage companies, and in general with CPG brands that are looking to generate more online business. Because another part of it is that like part of the referral or the advocacy you'll receive is obviously through the influencer that takes place on social media. But if you can find influencers that are genuinely interested in your product, they can also become customers, and they'll be real advocates for your product offline as well. And that's where the real value takes place.
So in a product seeding situation, the influencers are not getting paid. They're just receiving free product. Is there a path for them to actually make money from it? Or is the strategy that you guys have is all about product seeding?
Well, no. So part of our strategy is also to educate and help customers and influencers develop. And so the way we consider product seeding is really it's just a foot in the door, and like an opportunity to get a relationship going. With both the brands and the influencers, we encourage them to take the relationships offline. Which again, like is maybe contrary to what an agency or a competing marketplace or platform might say. But at the end of the day, like relationship is the most important aspect of every collaboration that takes place on Node. And for us, like we just use that campaign that takes place for a brand to find more influencers and for influencers to find awesome brands that they can collaborate with. What happens offline is it's totally between the brand and the influencer, and like we have no problem against influencers, getting compensated for their creativity and their talent.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're a little bit like a Tinder or a Bumble for influencers and brands. You're going to facilitate the relationship, but once it goes offline, they start dating, you're out, your job's done.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. I guess it's like, Tinder and like a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking of an example here. So if I was to sign up to your platform as a very micro influencer right now, and I get a couple of breweries to send me out beers because I genuinely love drinking beer. I probably drink beer nearly every day now in quarantine. Play some Xbox and drink a beer. So natural product placement would be have a beer during a podcast, bam, maybe talk about how much I like it. Genuinely would only be, drinking the ones that I enjoy. And then from there, the process would be, hey, Chris, we loved your episode with Armin where you talked about our beer. We'd actually love to bring you on as a legitimate, partner with us. That's kind of how things would work.
That's a perfect example. Another one is like with beverage brands, outside of COVID, they do a lot of events. And, this way you could actually find the influencers that you want to invite to those exclusive media events that you host. So that's precisely the idea. And then same thing with the influencers. Like, we have influencers that create some really amazing and elaborate campaigns. And for them, that's an opportunity to go back to the brand and say, hey, like I could do another shoot for you, and you guys can compensate me for it, and they can discuss terms. And at that point, it's like it's a much warmer intro, right?
Yeah, definitely. So how are you guys then? I mean, you don't have to answer this, but how are you guys making money?
So like part of our goal of making of democratizing influencer marketing is that it has to be accessible to brands regardless of their size or budget. And the way we make that happen is through a SaaS subscription. So brands are really only required to pay one fee. It ranges from $100 to $500, and then they can access our marketplace freely to offer their products and also get data and feedback from the influencers.
Yep. Okay.
And then we also, like, one thing that's interesting, I guess, is we also have a freemium product that we're releasing in like 3 weeks. So we even have a free version that you can literally go on the app, get your product up, get content, and it doesn't cost you a dime. You can do that with up to 5 influencers a month.
Right. Yeah, this seems kind of different to some other startups that I've spoken with in the influencer space. It's cool that, obviously for an influencer, it's free to join. The subscription-based model for a brand seems to be a really low barrier to entry to get in and connect with some influencers without having to fork out 10, 20 grand on a campaign, right? I think the most important part for a brand, and if I'm a marketing manager at a company and I want to start using influencers, I want to know that they care about my product. I don't want them just saying how much they love it and I'm going to pay them 10 grand and then that's it. They forget about it. I think authenticity is super important. So it sounds like you guys are solving for that problem.
Yeah, totally. And like it has to be reciprocated on. It's a balancing act, right? So it has to be reciprocated on both sides with both brands and influencers, and then like also moderating that sort of relationship. It's challenging, but yeah, like we take a very, very different approach to influencer marketing. We don't even we don't consider it influencer marketing per se. It's more so brand advocacy and brand ambassadorship. And like we also take a different approach when it comes to like I don't really know why we did this, but we decided to challenge ourselves by taking on a very different business model to build a marketplace. Whereas in I think 99% of traditional marketplaces, you're paying transactionally for every unit of transaction or value that's exchanged,
yes,
as opposed to offering a product or exchanging or bartering. So that was something we had to keep in mind. And then also throwing in the freemium is also like an added wrench for us to kind of manage. But at the same time, like we realized this is what's really important for us to be able to get our product into the hands of skeptical marketers, startups, new entrepreneurs, people that are like super innovative in larger brands, kind of like yourself that has like a really cool digital wine tasting program that you're coming out to, obviously foster your leads.
Yeah.
So like those are our customers, right? Like kind of people that are leading edge and looking for like tools that allow them to do more with less. And for us, like our job is to educate and support these individuals and help their businesses grow, and that'll reciprocate again, like in our growth.
Mm-hmm. So when a brand signs up on the paid platform that you guys have, and let's say it's a brewery and they got a new IPA or a new bright ale that they've released for the summer, do you suggest certain influencers or certain people on your platform and say, hey, we think these guys or these girls are going to be great to promote your new beverage this summer? Or is it up to the brand to find the right person?
So the brand gets matched with influencers. And then what'll happen is the influencers that actually claim the campaign that are matched with the brand, those are the ones that the brand will see, and all they have to do is ship the product to them.
Okay.
So we've removed the whole discovery and negotiation process for the brand. You just post the product and indicate what you want in return from the influencers, and then it'll get matched with creators that are within your category, within your region, within like you could also have some filtering in terms of what kind of audience sizes you want to target. So we really just simplified it and then used our own tools to match the influencers, and then just have a really stringent process on the verification. So we could, have we could pretty much guarantee brands that they'll get great content because we know every influencer that comes will produce that. And for a while, like we still do this, but for a long time we were just like boasting that we'll give you a full refund if you don't get results in the first month and if you're not happy with the content. We stopped needing to say that because we have enough case studies now.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So if I'm the brand and I get matched with 20 influencers, do I have the ability to just say, I only want to send it to these 12? Like it's obviously up to me who I send it to, right?
Yeah. So basically you do have that option. All you have to do is indicate which ones you've sent the product to, and then those ones will be notified. Rarely, to be honest with you, brands usually work with all the influencers that we suggest.
Yeah.
Like the percentage of influencers or percentage of campaigns that have like an influencer that the brand doesn't want to work with is like under 1%, I would say. But that's only because like we'll see how it turns out when we scale.
So I mean, right now you've probably got a low quantity but a high quality of influencers on the platform, so it's pretty easy to say, yeah, I'll send it to all of them, and you don't really have much to lose as a brand if you know you're sending something to quality content creators. It's a product, maybe it's a case of beer. What's that, like $30-$40? Send that out to them, and then you get good content essentially for free.
Well, yeah, like to be honest with you, we're not in a hurry to have every influencer in the world on our app, right? Like that's not really our vision. In the end of the day, like it's supposed to be for people that have a knack for creating great content and are just interested in the brands we work with. And even if like you got on the app and you were selling a product, like let's say you had T-shirts for champions of marketing that you wanted influencers to start wearing and promoting in an Instagram post, right? You wouldn't want to necessarily work with 600 influencers in a month or 1,000 influencers in a month, right? Like you're going to want to work with like a small batch of influencers that you know are going to create great content for you.
Yeah, it's too many T-shirts as well. I don't want to print out 600 T-shirts.
That's what I'm saying, right? So like, it's not really a race to who has the most influencers because that's not what the customer is looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are you marketing your business because ideally what you want is you want more businesses online on your platform because that's where you're making money from the SaaS model or converting the freemium users in the future to full paid subscribers. So how are you guys doing your own B2B marketing?
Well, like the biggest, I guess, driver is like our influencers have done a lot of marketing for us. They share our product and our app, and they tag us very frequently. We have like tons of content. We're constantly sharing on Instagram and social, and that just worked out. Like I don't know, we got lucky and we created an experience that they happen to really like right off the bat, and so the influencers are really driving our growth. They're like really happy with kind of the way we've designed the whole experience for them to make it so easy and seamless to collaborate with brands. So they've just like through word of mouth on the influencer side, more brands are hearing about us. And then we do our own like outreach. It's really easy to find, like for anyone who's out there trying to sell to SMBs, like it's the easiest demographic to get in contact with because like if you're emailing a general mailbox, you're probably going to reach like the founder, CEO, marketing director anyways. So it's been relatively easy to sell into SMBs and just get the attention of marketers. And then The influencers provide like all the social proof, and then going forward, like again, we realize that we're always going to be limited by how many emails or how many calls or how much ad budget we could put in for form signups and like do demos. So we got rid of all that shit and we just did like a self onboarding with a freemium. And that way, like it'll allow people to actually use the app rather than like me telling you how great it is. You could just use it and see if it's a fit for you. And if it's not, then like great, like we get more feedback and hopefully we can improve on that user. And if it is, then sick, we have a customer.
Yeah. Do you ever see a day where you get acquired by Salesforce or Adobe or HubSpot and they integrate you into their B2B or B2C marketing suites?
I like the challenge is like that with other platforms, like when it comes to like a Salesforce or like a Shopify, HubSpot, things like that, or even like let's say an Instagram, we would basically be tied to that platform, right? Whereas for us, like our goal is to be platform agnostic. Like even right now, we're testing some things with TikTok.
Yep.
So in reality, like it depends on where we have the most opportunity to reach the most amount of like customers or users and businesses, right, and influencers, and like where our product will resonate the most, right? Like, and like for that, like in that kind of respect, if let's say we were to be tied to like a Salesforce or a Shopify or a HubSpot, then would that prevent us from being able to accommodate businesses that are using other platforms? Like that's the biggest question that would come up for us, and like that's not necessarily the direction we want to go right now. Things may change in the future. And
well,
it depends
if they bought you for $1 billion, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, well, shit. Like, hopefully, like, that's like the type of problem I want to have, right?
yeah, exactly. So you mentioned TikTok. That's like obviously the hottest platform right now. People are going crazy over it. Everyone's in quarantine, dancing around and posting crazy videos. Is Instagram still the most lucrative social platform for brands and influencers, or is TikTok getting to that point? Are they a competitor yet?
So I think there's like, so if you, in terms of the grand market, in terms like for brands to get exposure and for influencers to reach audiences, I think Instagram is where most of the action is taking place.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to like an influencer asking or creating a proposal for a brand to pay them for a certain collaboration, you'll definitely be able to drive more from TikTok because it's more niche. There's less influencers that are creating that content. It's harder to create that content. It's like it requires a lot more creativity. And so for that reason, like you could probably make more money creating TikToks. You could probably make more money creating YouTubes as well, right? Like it's just the learning curve is much higher. But in terms of like advertising, like Instagram is definitely where your customers are going to be. Unless you have like a product that's, you can create like a TikTok trend out of it, right? If you have some sort of like product or some sort of piece of content that you can turn into some sort of viral TikTok trend that people would want to share with their friends and so forth, then like TikTok will give you that quick exposure because that's just how they distribute content, right? It's like based on just the immediate engagement, it'll distribute it to a massive amount of people. Whereas Instagram, you're always going to be limited to your followers.
Yeah, TikTok seems to have they have a product, right? They sell the ability to create a TikTok challenge, and then they will guarantee to push that out and get a certain level of engagement if you're paying them, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do. So that's actually something I learned on a conversation on a previous episode. So they they do have their own little products with it that they're working on, which is kind of cool.
So they're like shilling themselves out to make TikTok challenges that are paid.
Yeah. I believe you like an official TikTok challenge is a paid product placement. It doesn't just come organically. From my understanding, could be wrong.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything on TikTok? Do you have a channel? Do you browse?
I do have a profile under the Champions of Marketing, but I would say my fiance is the big user of TikTok in my household, and I've appeared on numerous videos on hers, dancing and doing other activities. So usually I'm just in the background as a backup actor in whatever she's filming.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, for her, it's just like strictly recreational, right? Like she's not trying
she's just doing it for fun. I mean, we put out good content, but she's not an influencer or anything like that. But we put out good content, and I've got the experience to edit things together a bit more professionally than the average person as well.
So what are your plans for the podcast?
This is just something that I started up because for me, my day-to-day job is selling marketing automation software, right? I work at Adobe. I sell Marketo, and this is a way for me to get deeper into the marketing industry, which is something that I thought was imperative to the success of my job. And then as I started getting into the podcast and started talking to guys like you, and on my previous episode, I had the founder and CEO of an influencer marketing agency in London, MG Empower. Her name's Mayra Genovese, and had a great conversation. Yeah, awesome.
I listened to that one today on my run, actually.
Yeah, so good conversation with her, and I'm learning about all these different little subcategories in marketing, and now I'm at a point where I'm doing it just as a hobby. But if it turns into something great, if I sign up to Node app and breweries want to send me beers and I'll talk about it on my podcast, then send away.
Yeah, totally. And then, like, I noticed you picked YouTube. You stream it on YouTube, and then you just got the Instagram going. You're managing all that yourself, right?
Correct.
Which social outlet do you think you're going to focus on the most?
YouTube and LinkedIn are my primary social platforms. I think LinkedIn, just because it's a professional platform, marketers are on LinkedIn, right? And this is a podcast about marketing professionals where I talk with people that are either founders of marketing startups or working in high-level positions in marketing at companies. So I want to focus more on LinkedIn. I might in the future move over and start posting more content on Instagram. Like right now, I post my episode thumbnails on my Instagram account, and I have a link in my bio to go to my YouTube page.
Cool, man. And then do you you see an intersection here between what you do with the podcast and what your role is at Marketo?
Yeah, I mean, it started off, that was the goal, but now it's sort of taking on a life of its own. I wanted to start this as a way that I could build myself as a thought leader in the marketing industry, which would then just make me better at what I did, right? And ask better questions and get better at understanding the world from a marketer's point of view by talking to as many marketers as I can. But now it's going a different direction that I didn't expect it to, and it's kind of, as I mentioned, taking on a life of its own. I'm getting to speak with people like you that are building companies from the ground up and taking on new industries, and I'm really enjoying it. It's actually something good that's come out of quarantine because I've had a lot more time on my hands, and I've been able to focus the spare time outside of my day job, my 9 to 5, on things like this.
So you say it's then taking a life of its own. What do you mean?
Well, initially it was built because the podcast, I wanted just to do it, as I mentioned, to build my credibility in the marketing industry, and the goal was, okay, well, this will indirectly help me be more successful in my day job.
Oh, okay, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, but now it's like, well, I actually am enjoying it way more than I thought I would, and it's kind of gone beyond that original goal, which the original goal was just get better at understanding marketers from their eyes. So then it makes me a better person for them to talk to, because I'm selling them marketing software. I'm selling them Marketo, but I'm a sales guy and they're a marketer. And there's a systemic problem in every company where sales and marketing just don't talk to each other, don't communicate properly. And I thought, well, I need to understand more about the marketer to then be better as a sales rep. And that's why I wanted to start this podcast. But now I'm speaking with people like you, which is not initially, I wouldn't have thought to talk to someone like you when I first came up with this idea of starting this podcast and the initial goal. But then I started just going on like down rabbit holes, like, you know, late at night, and looking up videos on fake influencers and how to become a fake influencer, and then getting really interested in influencer marketing and finding Node app and all these other agencies out there that connect influencers and brands, and obviously that's the future of marketing. And then you listen to guys like Gary V, who just never shuts up about TikTok and whatever the next platform he's going to come out and be an early adopter of. So now it's just like, I just want to talk to interesting people.
So, okay, now I get it. Because initially I wasn't, just like your overall, because initially it seems like it was more objective based, and now it's becoming a real passion project for you. I hope you can monetize it soon, man. Like it's probably early to be thinking about that, because it's been what, 2 months?
Yeah, I initially started at the beginning of the year, and then went on a little hiatus with COVID, because not many people were interested in getting on a podcast to talk about marketing when they were, you know, in the midst of layoffs and just shit was going crazy. But yeah, I mean, look, monetization would be cool. Brand partnerships would be cool, learning about all this stuff, but it's not my ultimate goal. Like, it's not keeping me up at night that I might not ever make money off this. And if I could put out 500 episodes and not make a dime directly from this, and I wouldn't care. Like, I don't do things to make money. I'm doing things like this because I like doing it. It's a hobby.
Yeah, no, totally. It seems like you're onto something with this, because I mean, I listened to the other interview, and it was really good. And like, the issue I find with podcasts is that there's so many marketing podcasts, right? It's like, that's why I was really down for the live stream, because I'm like, okay, we can get noticed with the live stream, because the podcast, like, there's a lot of people coming with podcasts. People are commuting less, so I'm not sure how that podcasts are being consumed. But if we could find a new outlet, and I also tried Reddit, by the way.
I'm a big user of Reddit. Like, I have to set a time limit on the app on my phone to an hour a day, and I often just cancel it because I'm scrolling through there all the time.
Speaking of time limit, man, when's your call? When should we?
I could probably go another 15 minutes.
Cool. We'll wrap up soon.
Yeah.
I went for the Reddit live stream. Like, it's kind of a weird process. You have to go follow a certain subreddit and then go look at another video. But long story short, you have to have 300 comment karma.
Yeah.
You have to have 200 comment karma, not just regular karma. And so what I did was, like, when I found out like 4 hours ago, I asked one of our interns to go on my account and just mass comment on my home feed. And she got it to like 40.
Yeah, you got to get a lot of people to start liking your comments, and then you get more karma that way. And but
it's not thing.
The best way to do it is just like legitimately be a good member of the Reddit community.
Dude, I have 2,000. I have a lot of karma. I have like 2,000 karma for posting. But I never comment. That's the thing. I'm not like one of those guys with the witty comments at the top of the comments. You know what I mean? With the most upvotes. But maybe I should talk some shit more often.
Yeah, I didn't comment a whole lot. If I've got something funny to say or interesting to say, I'll comment. But mostly I'm just lurking on certain posts, and I just like the ability to curate my feed with the things that I'm interested in. So it's like, all right, cool. Let me follow the fishing subreddit. Let me follow the marketing subreddit, the pro wrestling subreddit.
Follow the fishing subreddit?
Yeah, dude. I got my fishing rod right here. I'm going to go camping this weekend. Catch some trout.
Nice. I was thinking about going camping this week. Trout, eh?
Yeah.
Where do you go? How far out is that from where you are?
4.5 hour drive north of San Francisco. There's a little place called Trinity Lake. So doing a little RV camp there, and should be able to hopefully reel in a few fish.
Dude, you're really out and about. I remember when we spoke last, when we first actually connected, you were going to like some Airbnb the week after. Did you end up doing that?
Yeah, we did. And we did it very safely. So it was a small group of us. We all got a COVID test prior. So we all knew that we were safe. Yeah, man. I mean, it's stuck inside. Like, it's not really my nature. I do like to get out and do things, but I've been pretty good at staying. It's shelter in place still in San Francisco, and keep myself away from large crowds and whatnot. But when the chance comes up to just get out and get a bit of sunlight and have some fun, then why not do it?
Yeah, shit, man. I would love to be in San Fran. Well, it's nice here, but again, like, we were supposed to be in San Fran over the summer. Hopefully, I heard the travel ban might get removed at the end of August or July. I think July, they said.
Yeah, I think in San Francisco in particular, they're opening restaurants for outdoor seating this weekend. I think it's San Jose. So, just down at the bottom of the bay. There are some areas where you can sit outside and eat. So I think slowly it's opening back up. But yeah, I mean, for you being a founder, San Francisco is obviously the hot spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, we have an office, we have a space to work out of there, and like we're part of an accelerator. I want to meet the companies, and like, the most important thing is we have demo day in September. So ideally, we'd like to be able to attend that. But it's not going to make or break us. And of course, like, I'd be able to actually connect with people like yourself in person. We're down there, which would be dope. But shit, man, we'll see how it goes. Do you have any plans to come up here to Toronto anytime?
I've never been to Toronto, but I'd love to go there. Apparently, the summertime is the place. It's a place to be. So Toronto is on my list. Montreal is on my list. I really want to go to the Just for Laughs Festival in Montreal. I'm a big stand-up comedy fan, so that's kind of been a bucket list item for me to do. So we'll see. I mean, I just got engaged, so maybe a bachelor party up in Montreal or Toronto in the summertime could be kind of fun.
Hell yeah, man. Montreal's a good place for a bachelor party. There's a lot of like clubs and bars and really good restaurants. Toronto's really good too, but Montreal is like kind of more chill, a little bit more like hipster.
Yeah, if I can line it up around the Just for Laughs festival, that would be amazing for me. I'm all about that. But I've only been to Canada once. Went to Vancouver years ago, and I mean, beautiful place. Absolutely love Canada. As the stereotype goes, most Canadians are pretty darn friendly. So I love the country. Yeah,
I've probably been to more U.S. cities than Canada, which I haven't been to Vancouver. But yeah, man, shit. Give me a shout if you're ever coming up here in the near future, and we'll grab a drink or something. We'll go.
Yeah,
I'll show you a fishing spot.
Sounds good. I'll bring the fishing rod. I have to get one that I can put in my backpack because this one's like 7 foot tall. Yeah. All right, Armin. Well, hey, thanks for the chat. Interesting hearing about Node and what you guys are doing there. I think it's different to other apps that I've seen and other influencer agencies that I've seen. It seems to be super simple for a brand just to at least try try influencer marketing and just test the waters. The freemium product you mentioned is coming out in 3 weeks.
Yes.
Where can people find you? Your website, your social channels, if they want to reach out, if they're an influencer or they're a brand and they want to start using you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me plug myself in. Yeah. So we'll have the new free version of the app available in 3 weeks. You can check out our website, node-app.com, or just Google Node App, Node App. Follow myself on Instagram. This is Armin, or Twitter, Armin's World. And of course, you could follow us, our social pages, and see the content our influencers are actually creating in live, in real time, because we share that on all our social pages. So check us out. Love to hear from you guys. We'll be in touch, Chris. Sick podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, man. Take care.